Hello and welcome to Lesson 11, page 95. This is the song titled Little Church Bells in our Level 1 book. Little Church Bells continues to review the notes C, D, E, F, and G in our treble staff. And remember, students, if the song has a treble clef, that means we're going to use our right hand. And there are 5 notes that we need, so that means that we're going to be using all 5 fingers for this song. In the previous song, we just talked about a brand new thing called a 5-finger pattern. What that means is all 5 of our fingers are used to cover 5 keys on the piano, and we're going to need exactly that for this song. So let's talk about where we're going to place our fingers. And I also want to mention, if you have any questions about the hand position and how your hand's positioned, there's another video in this course that goes over proper hand technique. And of course, always check with your teacher. They're welcome to help you with your hand position as well. But we will talk some about that today. So we need middle C. Remember, C is the first first white key under our group of 2 black keys. And I'm going to place my thumb on it. Remember, for the piano, we use the side of our thumb to play the piano. And I'm going to place one finger on each of the white keys moving to the right, just like this. So I have C, and next to that I have D, E, F, and G. So all 5 of my fingers are covering some keys here. Now, something I want to mention, if you're having trouble using any of the new fingers on the piano, practice playing them like 5 or 10 times on their own. Usually these 2 fingers on the end are a little tricky, so you might just try and play 5 or 10 good ones in the row to get used to playing. If you do this every day, I promise it will feel so much more natural to you. Remember, it's brand new, so it should feel a little bit strange when we first try it. But after a couple tries and a couple songs of practice, you will get it, I promise. Now, when you're playing with these other fingers and not your thumb, you want to make sure your fingers don't collapse when they play on the piano. They're going to want to kind of like bend down like this sometimes. Remember, you're going to want to have a strong finger and play with the fingertip, okay? All right, so we've got our notes C, D, E, F, and G. Let's review some more of the symbols that are in this song before we go through each line. So we have the return of our pedal mark that's here. And remember, this is called it's called the pedal mark, but what I was going to say is the pedal that we use is called the damper pedal or the sustain pedal. So if you have an acoustic piano at home, you might have 3 pedals. Now, if you have your own keyboard, digital keyboard, you might not have 3 pedals. You might just have one that you plug in, or you might not have a pedal at all, and that's okay. You can always just pretend you're pressing it with your right foot, and when you come to Piano Lab, you can try it out for real. So I'm drawing a little picture. This pedal on the far right is the one you're going to want to use if you have a piano at home, or if you have a keyboard that has 3 pedals. And this is again called the damper pedal, because when you press it, it releases a damper off of the piano strings on your piano, kind of like a long piece of wood like this. And when that happens, it allows the strings to ring out and sustain their sound. So you might also hear teachers call it the sustain pedal, which is also another word for it. And when we hold that pedal down, let me give you an example. I'll play a C and then I'll take my hand away, but I'm holding that pedal. See? Sound still rings out until I let go of that pedal. So pretty cool. And in this song, we're going to press and hold down the pedal here. We're going to keep holding it all the way until we get to the end of the measure here in measure 4, and that's where we will pick it up. Okay? Remember, if you don't have a pedal at home, you can just pretend with your foot to press it and hold it. It's just about the same thing. Okay? All right, so that pedal mark shows up in line number 1 and line number 3. Some other symbols I'm seeing in our song is at the end here we have a fermata. And that fermata looks upside down, right? It's usually up here. And that just has to do with where the notes are placed for this song. Because they're so low on our staff here, you can place it in either direction. So they went ahead and placed it down there instead of up here, since it would have been so far away from our notes. Okay, but it still does the same thing. Remember, the fermata means to hold notes longer than their duration, which just means their length. So this is a dotted half note. We're 3 beats, so we're going to hold it until the sound goes away is our rule, but you could hold it for 4 beats or 5 beats or 6 beats, up to you. Okay, So let's go back to our time signature quick. We're in 3/4 time because we have a 3 up top. That tells us how many beats need to be in each measure. So there needs to be 3 beats, like a dotted half note, or maybe 3 walk notes. The bottom number tells us what type of note gets the beat. A 4 is a quarter note or a walk note, which equals 1. So you need a dotted half note to fill a measure, or maybe 3 walk notes, or maybe like in measure 6 with the walk note and a half note. Any of those combinations will work as long as they equal 3 beats. Then that means it's a measure. Okay, let's look at our first line. We're going to say the notes and not really worry about the rhythms just yet before we try our steady beat. And let's go ahead and hold the pedal down too. See if you can name the notes with me as we play them in measures 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3. E. Very nice. Playing an E on our piano, and let's do measure 2. 1, 2, 3. C. And we're just getting used to where we need to press for this song. Measure 3. 1, 2, 3. G. It's a G. You can say the notes while you play them. And measure 4. 1, 2, 3. E. Okay, so we have E, C, G, E in that first line. Let's try that at a steady beat now, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Play E. 2, 3. Measure 2. C. 2, 3. Measure 3. G. 2, 3. E. 2, 3. And I'll release that pedal. Remember, after measure 4, because we don't want it to ring out for longer than 3 beats. Okay, line number 2. Let's look at the notes we have. So we have F, D, D, F, D. So it's kind of like a pattern, you guys. Check that out. F, D, D, F, D for 2. And then in measures 7 and 8, we're playing E, C, C, E, C. So it's just like what we played before, but with new notes. E, C, C, E, C for 2. Let's clap the second line together. And I want you to say the notes out loud as we clap them, just to practice identifying our notes on the staff. 1, 2, 3. Clap with me. Clap. F, D, D, F, D for 2. Measure 7. E, C, C, E, C for 2. And off. Great work. And now let's try it on our pianos. Line number 2. 1. Oh, and I just want to mention no pedal on the second line. Notice, okay? So no pedal here. 1, 2, 3. Line 2. Play. Play. F, D, D, F, D for 2. E, C, C, E, C for 2. And off. Great work. Line number 3 is the exact same thing as line number 1. So let's hold down our pedals and practice that together. Here we go. Line 3. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Play E. 2, 3. Measure 10. C. 2, 3. G. 2, 3. E. 2, 3. And off. Very good. Now line number 4 is exactly the same as line number 2, except at the very end, instead of playing E, C, we just play C and E at the same time together. And remember, we have a fermata, so we're going to hold C and E together until the sound goes away. Practice that because you're using your thumb and your tall man finger in the middle here, or what we call our third finger on the piano. We're going to press those at the same time and hold it until the sound goes away. Okay, let's try line number 4 nice and slow together. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Play F, D, D, F, D, D, measure 15, E, C, C, and then C and E. We're going to hold it until the sound is gone. Great work. And now let's go back to the beginning and try our first full performance of Little Church Bells. Don't forget to hold down the pedal for the first line and the third line. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Play E, 2, 3, and C, 2, 3. G, 2, 3. E, 2, 3. Second line. F, D, D, F, D, for 2, measure 7. E, C, C, E, C, for 2. Pedals down. E, 2, 3, C, 2, 3, measure 11. G, 2, 3, E, 2, last line. F, D, D, F, D, D, E, C, C, C and E together until that sound goes away. Congratulations on completing Little Church Bells, and I will see you on the next song.